saw just a spruce tree. So this year, in April, I thought I'm going to cut into it and see what it looked like. And it was like, wow, this is dry. I didn't know, but anyway, I started playing with it, and my goal was, my mother had a soup tureen, they're called, and it had a lid with a soup thing. So I was making a tureen. And then I got to this point, and I didn't know what to do with it. And now in the process, we were dealing these ambrosias. I turned this bowl, I had this bowl, but I had redone it with a base on it. That's about a ½ inch thick, that bowl, and about the size of that right there. It never cracked. It never cracked at all. And it has not cracked at all, and it's... So anyhow, on that tulip thing, I knew we didn't get flowers around here, and I threw a log on, and I started making a vase, didn't know what I was going to make, and it got to this point, and I went, oh, I'll make my wife something to put some flowers in. So I thought, well, I'll make it look like tulips. So I started drawing on it, and then I thought, well, if I'm going to do that, I could probably cut it away and carve it. So I took and carved the form away. And in the process of that, I started back playing with this one again and decided maybe do a sunflower. So back to the tulip and the sunflower vase, I started turning, and there's those stems that I was doing. I used a 3/4 inch mahogany, started at this end and just worked my way across until I just kept going until they were done. I made
you had said that you stopped using 2 points and you were only using 1 point?
On finials.
Oh, on the
when
finials.
you turn a finial like that right there, if I'm turning a small finial and if this is going to be my point, yes, it comes up, the tailstock goes away, put my hand behind it, I do all the sanding, the final finishing, next step, sanding, final finishing, next step, final finishing. So when you're done with a tall finial like that and you've got a long point on it, you've never gone back to this again. In this case, I left this. I did a couple. I have left them with, I had some that have a wider head on them. There's one still in there. So it doesn't matter, I was just running it. So it was just a play process and making tulips and playing with it and trying, there's where I'm sanding it just to clean it up a little. Once I did the tulips, I started doing a paint process and then basically sanded it all down again and did a wet stain on it. And it was done. So I got back to this darn thing. That's when I wanted to see Jim. I said, okay, I don't have any tools. I mean, when you're using a drill bit for a power carver, it's like, this isn't the way to do it. But I was doing it anyway. So I started doing this flower and using the different rasps and different things. And it seemed to start working okay. I thought I'd get some paint out and start slapping some paint on. And my vision was seeing a fun sunflower in a field with the blue sky behind it. So I did it. And it seemed to work, but then I got to the leaves and it was like, okay, first, I kept saying, number one, as Jim knows, you know, well, I know how to carve a leaf. What do I have to look at a leaf for? What do I have to look at a leaf to paint for? Because you're going to do it wrong. And so this thing got done. My wife walks in and it was in white, and she said, "Is that going to stay white?" I said, "I don't know." She says, "Ugh." And I said, "Well, I'll do it in cream." And it wasn't just, my mind was on the cream, and I'm going, and then it sat there. And finally, after about a week or so, I said to my wife, I said, I walk by this thing, and every time I walk by it, it gets uglier and uglier. Something's wrong, and I just couldn't see it. So I ended up making a jam chuck, and I put the bowl back on the lathe and got rid of the shape. I said, those leaves have got to go. Then I started liking it and really didn't know what color to do. And I had a sunflower on the inside too. And I went, this is a mess. So I ended up putting the lid back on the lathe and turning all that away too. I gotta quit touching the screen. So then I just did a little, like you say, leave that little nub. That's your signature piece. Don't take it away. Now I like the shape. And then I decided to do a dye process. And so I mixed up a series of cups of brown, green, yellow, red, And I just took a paper towel and started blotching it on. And at that point, I was liking it. And then when I set it on the top, that's when I realized that blue's got to go. That's what's not helping at all. And of course, there's this completed piece with, from this same piece to this same piece. So that's, and then trying to get pictures of it was absolutely terrible. So that's why I didn't demonstrate it over there. I tried taking many, many pictures, and I just can't capture, like Kate said, it looks ceramic. If you lift the lid up, well, that was just pure luck. Okay, multiple layers of acrylics on it, and I did use some glaze. I did 3 different types of glazings on that. I used some gels. And,
okay, gel.
yeah, I used some gels. I had 3 different types that I was using gels on it and stuff. Not on the base, only on the lid. I used gels on.
So when you said you put it back on the lathe after you'd already started painting it,
bowl or
what
lid?
did you do between either one?
Well,
did you put it between
the
2
bowl,
centers, or what did you do?
What I did is I have a product at the shop, a high density urethane. It's we call it sign foam. It's a real compressed foam. I just turned me a round, and I took a piece of that. What do you call that camper grip stuff?
Rubber.
That rubber meshing
sheet for your dishes in a camper.
Yeah, what
so
you
you just
use
made a plug for
and I
it.
just went like that and just shaved it away.
Okay.
And then once I did the lid, I basically did the same thing. I didn't have the little bee on it yet, and I had literally just turned the hole, the lid, the knob, and then that shape, and jammed it in there, and shaved away out the inside, and pulled it away.
Okay.
That was,
Yeah.
and it was just, it was a ugly duckling turned into at least something halfway decent.
What you just described is the creative process.